with great pleasure that I introduce to you Andrew Yang, the founder and president of Venture for America, which I'm sure he'll tell you more about. Yang was previously the president and CEO of the Manhattan GMAT, a test preparation company that was acquired by the Washington Post and Kaplan in 2009. He spent over a decade as a co-founder, director, or executive member of a number of software companies and startups in New York. And he began his career as an associate at the law firm Davis Polk and Wardwell. He's a graduate of Columbia Law School and Brown University.
Thanks. Thank you. First, let me say how impressed I am that all of you guys are here. How many of you are seniors in college? A lot of you. Fantastic. I'm going to be talking to you. Juniors? Sophomores? Freshmen? All right. But I do want to thank SISC for having me and everyone else here today. I want to thank Karen and all of them for their tremendous work. Because I just want to you guys are all well ahead of where I was when I was in college, up the street at Brown. When I was a senior, I really had no idea what I wanted to do after I graduated. So I did what many people do in that situation. I applied to law school. And then law school actually did not clarify anything. And so after law school, I then ended up working at a corporate law firm in New York, Davis Polk, and my title was Associate Mergers and Acquisitions. Now, I know that a couple of you know what that actually means in real life, but who thinks they know what that means in real life? Yes. So what's your name?
I don't know.
Oh, so you don't know. He knows. So, yeah.
Is it like you have to work really hard, long hours before you can
That's pretty good. What's your name?
Steven.
Steven, it's even worse than that. If you can imagine a younger version of me with a big stack of documents and a conference room, and that's the whole picture. Like that's it for a long, long time. So I was doing this job, and I went home for Thanksgiving. That break, I'd started work in September. And I said to my loving Taiwanese American parents, I said, this is not the job you raised me to do. When I was growing up, a dorky kid in Westchester, playing Dungeons and Dragons, I didn't dream about being the scribe. I dreamt about going in the woods and killing something. And so my parents looked at me like they didn't understand what I was saying, which was probably the case. I then went back to work, and I gave notice. I said, hey, this job is not for me. I'm going to leave before I get any better. Because if you get too good at something, people want you to do it. So it's a lesson I learned pretty early on. So before I could get any better, I left, and then I left to co-found a .com startup in the first bubble. Now, how many of you guys how old were you in the first bubble? 11, 9, 10, something like that. So maybe you dimly remember your parents just watching CNBC, shaking their heads or something like that, being like, no, this is not the way. So started a company, and I'm going to delve into this experience a little bit more so you guys have a sense of it. I was 25 or so, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start this company that's going to change philanthropy. And I'm going to go into the concept a little bit more because you guys will like it. And it still hasn't been built, so I bequeath to all of you this idea. Any of you can go build this thing. All right. So it was based on something called the Hunger Site. How many of you guys have heard of the Hunger Site? Or freerice.com? So you click on a button, food is sent to an undernourished population, you feel good, someone got fed, everyone's happy. So in 2000, I saw the Hunger Site and I said, you know what, that could be used to revolutionize celebrity-affiliated philanthropy. So let's say Magic Johnson wants to help his foundation raise some money. So what he does is he says, hey, iMagic will play one-on-one with someone and they'll donate money. And this will happen generally at an offline charity event in Los Angeles, in Hollywood somewhere. So the problems were, one, no one would see him do it, and two, not that much money actually gets raised at those things because it just depends upon who's in the room and how much someone decides to throw down for a one-on-one game. So we said to Magic Johnson, hey, why don't you just donate the meet and greet online? We'll get corporate sponsors to donate on a per-click basis for everyone who clicks on the button saying, help Magic Johnson, help his foundation. And then Magic Johnson will actually meet and play one-on-one with someone who clicks on the button. So everyone wins. Visitors win because they don't donate money that's not theirs, and one of them meets the celebrity. Celebrity looks good, raises more money. The charity, it's all manna from heaven at this point. So this is the idea. Stargiving.com. What do you guys think? All right. So I did this in two. So I gave some variant of that presentation to rich people when I was 25 years old, saying, "Hey, I've got a PowerPoint. Don't you want to invest in this? It's going to be great." And so what they all said was, "This is very interesting. Let me think about it and get back to you." Because that's what they say. They will not say yes off the bat because that almost never happens. And they're not going to say no. And the reason they're not going to say no is because they want to keep an option open in case it turns out you're a genius and it goes somewhere. And then they can be like, "I was always there with you. I was there with you from day one." And you're like, "Yeah, so you were." So I got a lot of "that's interesting, I'll think about it" for a number of months. And then I think month 4 or 5, someone actually wrote us a check. They bought, I think, 1% of the company for $30,000. I ran to a bank to cash a check because at that point the company owed me like 4 months in like ghost salaries since I had no money. And so I was owed like $12,000 because I was paying myself $3,000 a month. And it was good because that check came in because I was really running on empty at that point. I was on like the all ramen diet and stuff like that. So eventually we raised about $250,000. Had a media company invest in us, went live with Magic Johnson, Hootie and the Blowfish, MTV, some other people, and went live, like big press launch, 2000, 2001. I was in the New York Times, USA Today, CNN-FN with Hootie, being like, "We're gonna change philanthropy, it's gonna be great." Then the bubble burst, and then your parents were chagrined watching CNBC, just everything got washed out. And I remember New York when the bubble burst. Like just about all of us who were working in tech or new media at that time, it was like a hand just swept through the city and just swept away any company that had a .com anywhere near it. So the company goes under. At this point, I've lost people hundreds of thousands of dollars. I still owe $100K plus in law school debt because that didn't go anywhere. I was 25, lying on my floor, looking up, and thinking about what it was that I wanted to do next. And at this point, I'd been bitten by the bug. I said, "You know what? I need to learn how to build an enterprise, but I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm going to apprentice myself to some more experienced veterans who've been through this before." I spent the next 5 years as the sidekick to 2 experienced entrepreneurs. I think my vitae has it as VP of something or other. But there's rampant title inflation in startups. So all of you too can be VPs very, very soon if you decided to join one of these companies. And then around 2005, 2006, a friend who had started a company and was a Teach for America core member approached me about becoming the new head of Manhattan GMAT. I became CEO in 2006. The company grew something like 600% over the next 4 or 5 years, to the point where we became number 2 in the US, and we were acquired by the Washington Post. So after all of the toil and trouble, those 5 years, the apprenticeship period, then there ends up being a happy ending, and my parents are finally relieved that their son has, turned over a new leaf, or at least made the first leaf work, or the second leaf, depending upon how you look at it. All right, so what happens next is relevant to all of you. So all of you who are seniors, how many of you are thinking about working for a startup potentially, or starting your own thing? All right, now, a few of you. All right, so this is for you. This is for those of you who are underclassmen too, a little bit from now. So what do you guys want in a job? Someone want to shout something out. What are you looking for? Autonomy, meaningful work, something like that. Someone else. Stability. Wow, that one's tough. Challenge. Sorry? Movement.
Like not sitting in front of a computer.
Interesting. No desk job. I like you. Yes.
Doing good while making a profit.
Maybe belief in what you're doing, some money and stability, something like that. All right. We have number 1, develop skills training. I think that's popular for many. Looks good on resume. Keeps the options open in case you don't like it. You're young, you never know. Work with other smart people. Ideally, some real responsibility, meaningful work, money, maybe even upside of some kind. And then something good. For some of you, this is a high priority, and because you're here, it's probably a higher priority than it is for most. For others, this is like the post-baller priority. It's like after I'm a baller, I will, right? I will return and do good. All right, so what do you guys think of this list? It's not bad, right? All right, so here's what we see as the issue, and there's going to be some people that agree with us in this room, that there's a hyperallocation of talent to finance, consulting, law, professional services, and not enough talent going to job-creating enterprises in our communities. And this is something that used to not be the case. I mean, you all go to Harvard, the country used to be incredibly good at identifying smart kids all over the country and training them and then putting them to work in something of substance. But now, because of various structural forces, this is the picture. And so to take a look at Harvard's class of 2011, and this stuff's publicly available to the extent we could construct it, what were the top 3 options for people who graduated from Harvard this past May? All right, so I heard consulting, finance, and law in there. And so those were the top 3 at about 50% of the class. And then what's number 4? TFA is number 6. Number 4 is med school. So at this point, you're at 2/3 of the class. Then now we have this potpourri category that is, it's in generally descending order. It's grad school, nonprofits, industry, which is companies big and small, from startups up to Procter & Gamble, government, IT, military. Then Teach for America is indeed a significant number of people, 66, which was 4% of the class, 293 applied. And then 10% were undecided. So you can see that some of these stats will probably move up a little bit. Any thoughts about that? This stuff's publicly available, but most people never actually look at it. Sorry? Yeah, startups kind of get wedged in with industry, but it's really a very small proportion of people that will actually do that straight out of school, and that's very reasonable. And we'll talk about it a little bit more. So any thoughts about this? Any reactions, feelings? Surprising, unsurprising? Unsurprising, because you guys all go here, so you know what the story is. All right, so just to show that we're not focusing on Harvard, it's the same really at every other national university you look at. If you look at the top employers, it's banking, consulting, and law school, about 50% of the class in each of these institutions. And you could do it for really any of the national universities. So if you were to take roughly half of your graduating class and make them bankers, lawyers, and consultants, where are they going to live? Where are they going to move after school? New York. Where else? Where else? New York, Boston, San Francisco, and what's the 4th? DC, that's right. So those are the 4 cities that are going to get a hyper concentration of national university graduates. So what we decided to do is we decided to say, hey, what else is going on in the country economically in terms of job generation and job creation? So if you take a look at the areas with over 10% unemployment, it's essentially non-overlapping. The national university system has become a de facto talent drain on most of the country, whereas if you're a smart kid who grows up in New Orleans and comes to Harvard, you're probably going to become a banker, lawyer, consultant and move to New York, DC, Boston, San Francisco. You're not going to go to New Orleans. You're not going to start a business. You're not going to create any jobs. And so over time, you end up with a picture that looks like this. So what historically the country has been outstanding at has now started working against it. And so what do you guys think? Does this picture make sense? Yeah, it sadly does. And everyone looks at it and it's like, yeah, this is totally reasonable. All right, so why is it that everyone is becoming a banker, lawyer, consultant? It's the same list we saw early on, and they know what makes people attracted to a particular position. It's prestige, it's clearly marked path. I'm gonna go on a limb and say a lot of you as freshmen had no idea what management consulting was. But now you all know what it is. And that's very deliberate. I mean, there are no, no accidents here. Progressing the next level opens doors, keeps options open, money, compensation, gain skills, community, make sure you don't fall behind peers, and then maybe something good, maybe for later. What do you guys think of this list? Do you think this is why people do what they do? Yes, it's pretty on. So for those of you who are looking at working at a startup, why would you not do it? Why is it not going to happen? Why is this such a sliver of the class? Well, that would actually be pro this. This would be good for working a startup. Yeah. Sorry? It is quite risky, though I'm actually going to propose something, which is that if you're going to take a risk at any point, early would be the time to do it. But let me, so risk is definitely on the list, yeah.
If it fails, where do you go?
Yeah, it's not as good resume fodder, I mean, if you have 2 years at like Bank X, then like everyone recognizes that, whereas if you have 2 years, what's your name?
Leora.
Sorry?
Leora.
Leora. So if you had 2 years at Leora.com, it may not, it might not cut the same, yeah. Yeah, so people are afraid of having options be foreclosed to them. Though I have a big message for you guys. You all go to Harvard. If you do something for a couple of years and then you come back and say, hey, I want to work for you, they'll hire you anyway. Yeah, question, thought? Yeah, money is certainly on the list. Like you have loans to repay, for sure. Yeah.
They don't recruit at on-campus fairs.
Yes. Not recruited. We have that at number 1. If you want to work for a consulting firm, there are going to be 6 people from the future in suits who come here to talk to you. You know, and they're going to say, look, the water's fine, I'm dressed well. So this is, so that's number 1 in our list. Number 2 is that even if you wanted to work for a startup, it's hard to find. A lot of these things are done through personal networks, and so if you don't have a friend who happens to be in this situation, then it's tough to network your way to a position. You're doing it on your own because they're not hiring 20 people. You have no idea if it's going to get anywhere, training, advancement, success. You don't have any network, idea, money, or tech proficiency. So this is the list of reasons why you might not do it. So what's happening is that a lot of people with the desire to join a startup or start their own company say, you know what I need to do? I need to train and get some skills and quote unquote learn about business by going to finance or consulting, and then I will come back and do my thing. And that's a very popular motivation. One of the other things I'm here to tell you guys is that working for a bank or consulting firm is imperfect training for actually starting or running a company. It's the equivalent of trying to learn how to become a chef by working at a company that sells things to restaurants. If you wanted to learn how to be a chef, what would you do? You'd either go in a kitchen and just start cooking, or you'd find an experienced chef and say, will you teach me how to cook? That's what you would do. And so we're giving you the second path. We're saying we will put you in a kitchen with a chef for 2 years and you will learn how to cook. Sorry. Oh, no, thanks. I'll wrap it up. All right, so I'll leave you with the next 2 slides, really. I'm here as the head of Venture for America. We're recruiting 50 to 60 of the top college graduates in the country to go work in startups in Detroit, New Orleans, and Providence for 2 years. You'll be trained at Brown University for 5 weeks, and then you'll be sent, so you'll be living in groups in these cities with other people in the program. You'll be working for a startup, and then at the end of the program, we're going to give one of you $100,000 to actually start a business. This is Teach for America for Startups. It is now open for business. If you are a senior, please do apply. Tell your friends. We're certainly going to take someone from Harvard, and I can almost guarantee that. Oh, really? I mean, like, you'd have to. So the people that are involved with Venture for America are much cooler than me. We have venture capitalists, leading executives, entrepreneurs, some of the top investors in the VC community have thrown their weight and names behind this thing because they all see the same thing. They all see that the flow of talent is heading towards certain directions and not enough to others. And it's not because of a lack of desire or a lack of need. It's just a plumbing issue. And we are here to fix the plumbing. We are the plumbers. So again, applications are now open, ventureforamerica.org, apply. My name is Andrew. Thank you all.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that last talk kind of gave you a bit more of a concrete